Good afternoon, South Valley Community Church. This year is proving to be quite difficult. Most of us could not have imagined on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day that 2020 would be this hard. I'd like to address a few things in this Monday update. First, I want to briefly talk about the horrific killing of George Floyd. Now, I am so glad that I have yet to meet or talk with a single person who has justified what occurred on that video. If we can have unity in one thing, at least we can say this was clearly a horrible deed that was done and is wrong, and people need to be held accountable for their actions. At the same time, I know that for many in the African American community, this is not just a single isolated incident. What occurred on the video has symbolic value. And what I mean by symbolic value is the video and what occurred has the ability to have a resonant frequency with so many other hurts and pains. And so when you watch that, the video has this ability to recall past hurts and bring them to the surface. You watch a video like that and you might remember the first time your parents told you about slavery. You watch a video and you might remember the first time you were looking in a history book as a child and you saw a picture of a lynching. Or maybe that first time someone gave you that look, or when someone said that joke at your expense. And so for our brothers and sisters in the African American community, I know this is a very difficult, painful time. Some of you are hurting immensely. At the same time, this is precisely why Christ came to die. Christ came to reconcile sinners to God. He came to reconcile sinners to God. But subsequent to that, God says that he is going to adopt a family. And this family will be composed of people from every tribe, tongue, and nation. God did not look down upon the world and say, I want this tribe or this group or this ethnicity. He said he wanted them all. And he wanted them all from every tribe, tongue, and nation. And when he brought them in, he prays before he goes to the cross that they would be one just as the Father, Son, and Spirit are one. And so part of these issues are right at the heart of the gospel and what it means to be a Christian. So the church now more than ever needs to be wise. We need to be slow to speak and quick to listen. We need to be discerning. Additionally, we have seen this kind of explosion take place where there's many people taking to the streets. Many protesting peacefully, many hugging police officers in tears, many trying to fight off people who are coming into their communities just to start trouble and instigate riots. And there are some people who have they're acting like madmen and burning buildings down and attacking innocent people. And it's all around, and it's not as simple as just one narrative. There are people who are peaceful. There are people who kind of want to get violent. And then there's people who are absolutely hell-bent on destruction. And all of them are jumping in around this event. And so Christians have to be wise and discern and ask God in prayer, God, what are we to make of this as a church, as the people of God? The Bible says we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. There are powers and principalities at work in this present age. And they absolutely want to see this world burn. Why? Because this is, after all, our Father's world. And he created this world for human beings and for human beings to flourish in. And so know that this isn't just a physical thing. This is a spiritual war that's taking place, and it manifests in many different ways. And Christians must learn to be wise and discerning. And my fear is that we're not as good at that because of the digital age and social media. We're prone just to be quick to speak, have an opinion on everything. Everyone's an expert on everything. So Christians, be wise and be praying more than ever. I'd also like to recommend, it may be difficult for you to find if you're not on Instagram, but Bay Area pastor, an African-American man who leads a multi-ethnic congregation by the name of Brian Lauritzen. He has a great video on his thoughts on all of this. And there's many takeaways, but my biggest takeaway from it was how he talks about God has given society three institutions: the family, the church, and the government. And he's just like, we've got to do a better job in all three of these areas. In the video, he's broken, he's frustrated, but he speaks with clarity and truth, and really is trying to paint a way forward for that. So if you're on Instagram, you could just look for Brian Lauritzen, and you'll be able to find that video. Secondly, and which seems so like in the past, even though it's not really in the past, it's right here on our doorsteps. We're still trying to figure out how we move forward as a church. There were federal announcements made. There were state announcements made about churches reopening and what that might look like. But currently, right now, we are looking for what the county is going to say, because ultimately the governors are putting a lot of the responsibility upon the counties to decide how ought you best allow businesses and churches to reopen. So we're in a little bit of a waiting game, but with every passing week, we've been getting more and more better news. So as soon as we get that and what that looks like, we'll be getting that out to you all. But right now, we're in a little bit of a waiting game. Hopefully, by the end of this week, we'll know a little bit more. So, be wise, be praying, be slow to speak, quick to listen, and we'll see you soon.